Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I think I might have forgotten to take my goddamn allergy medicine today.
Oh,
But don't worry, I said I would be here and I'm here.
and you're separated from the dogs.
Yeah,
So,
so I should be fine for a while.
yeah. Um, what have we been up to this week besides Star Wars stuff?
Okay, so
Anything that's not Star Wars.
yeah, we'll talk about Star Wars in a little while. I got done making my first Mage the Ascension character this week.
Hey, I know
Yep.
you were learning that system.
I'm still learning it, but I have a decent grasp of general concepts now.
You have concepts of a character now.
Well, no, the character concepts are done. I got the approval and everything sorted out. I went and I made a Aetheryte.
Okay. I have no idea what that means, but okay.
Son of a bitch.
It's over there.
Yeah.
He dropped the cap to his water.
Yeah.
Hey, it landed on the correct side though, at least.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, So I can talk more about that in a sec.
Yeah.
What have you been up to that isn't Star Wars related?
I played some It Takes Two with a friend for the first time, which, despite editing Pixie and Zach's run of that, I still was getting lost. I was like, where are we supposed to go? But we've gotten past gotten past the first two bosses. We are now on the part where we're working with the squirrels and we got guns.
All right.
So we've beaten the vacuum and we've beaten the tool box. Don't know how much further we're going to get to play, but we got to play some and it was fun. Trying to think what else. Finished reading another book, which the review for that should be out tomorrow. Because that book comes out tomorrow, so...
Oh, well, that's a good time for the review to come out, isn't it?
Yeah, so I have time. So I finished reading it today, this morning. So fun sci-fi adventure novel. Pretty short. It's the third book in a trilogy. It's the trilogy I've been reading from. I'm getting the name of it from Beth Revis. It's the part of her Chaotic Orbits series, which I did the first two reviews for like when those came out, and so I was excited for this one because I like book two ends on such a cliffhanger, and you're like, I need to know what happens next because book two's been out long enough I can talk about it. But book two was because I did my book review on it when it came out back in December.
Yeah.
But it ends with the main character kidnapping the other like main character, like the love interest character, because he's like a political official and she's like this pirate looter character who thief with a heart of gold sort of thing going on, and she kidnaps him because they have to go to Earth to stop, well, not to stop these drones from being launched, but to reprogram them, because in the future of this book series, Earth, there's multiple Earths, but Sol Earth is original Earth, and original Earth got polluted and everything, and so the government's been working on these drones to clean the water and everything, but there's a corrupt billionaire who helped make the drones, who has programmed them with malware that will make him enrich him instead of actually doing what they're supposed to do, which is help clean the water and everything. And so she's kidnapped the politician, this political figure, who, like, in the first book, they kind of had a will they, won't they, until she stole the thing in that book. And then in this book, the second book, she kidnaps him because he's actually the target for in that book. So that way he can help her get access to the drones more easily. I mean, the interesting thing is that they're on the same side. It's just like her and the love interest. But of course, he's more by the rules and thinks the system works. Whereas she's more, no, you got to get outside the law sometimes to get things done. And it's a very interesting sort of will they, won't they between them. And because they're very much interested in each other, but also trying to outmaneuver each other when it comes to, like, the game. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting, and I love it. And I will, spoilers for my book review, I love book 3 as well. Right. I need more of this, and I think there will be, because it's technically like a spin-off series of one of her other book series, which I need to go back to and read that one. But yeah, going back to you though.
Yeah, so essentially I have I've learned the basics of Mage.
Yep.
Which was still a lot. To give you an idea, that book, the core rulebook for Mage, has a 7-page glossary. Not glossary,
We're also talking about an older system, because that
Mage
one...
20th. The newest one.
Oh, they did drop a new version.
Yeah.
Okay. I know a lot of them, for the most part, they've been older.
Yeah.
Because Vampire's the only one that really they seem to care about. Vampire's the only one that gets modern updates.
Yeah. But
even though they'll make werewolf games, they'll make plenty of video games for werewolf, but then they'll go, but we're not going to do a werewolf like proper rule set.
Like, they have multiple versions.
No, yeah, they've all got the 20th anniversary, but I think Vampire's the only one that's gone 5th edition, and then the rest of them are just the 20th anniversary versions, which is still not recent, because the 20th anniversaries ones were like the 2010s or something like that.
Something, I guess.
Something like that. I will fact check myself.
What I've been learning.
2015.
Okay.
Or at least... No, wait, that's that article. Never mind, hold on. $2015, okay. Yep. So, 10 years old still. Or about to be in September. So, whereas 5th edition...
5th edition is 2014.
Well, for Vampire.
For Vampire.
Vampire, not D&D. We're talking White Wolf.
This is the problem.
We're talking
when you
more.
Start using years as your fucking go-to thing.
Because we're talking World of Darkness, not D&D. Masquerade books. 5th edition, 2017.
Okay.
So, it is the newer version. Yeah. I was about to say. That sounded right, because I think when Bartimus was going to have us play a World of Darkness game, which I was going to be a werewolf in a world with everybody else being vampires.
Yeah. I remember, like, all of us, I think at that one, I was like, how many problems can I give one guy?
Which I think he was using the 20th anniversary for that one. I don't think, even though 5th edition Vampire was out already, I think he said he wanted to do 20th anniversary. No.
No,
It was...
We were using 5th edition because I had to, like, sit down and fucking read through that.
Oh, okay.
As well.
I thought he wanted 20th anniversary because I thought he didn't like 5th edition, but...
Either that or it might have...
I know for sure he was gonna... No, we were not. We were not using either. We were using the middle Dark Ages.
Oh, yep.
Because it was going to be set during Dark Ages. because I remember, because I was gonna make essentially a werewolf bard sort of deal, which was gonna be interesting to say the least.
Given the nature of who you were traveling with.
Yeah, Julie and I came up with an idea for that though. We had it figured out.
Yep.
But then we never got to play it because of multiple reasons. Because I think it was like just before COVID happened.
Yeah, the pandemic.
And then COVID happened, and then we were like, oh well. And then Barnabas moved, and
Yeah.
and then he came back, and I think he's back now still. And then, but we still haven't like planned for anything. We haven't played a Star Wars game since then either, to be fair. So
God.
I'm working on writing something. I swear I'm gonna do we're gonna do Dawn of the Jedi before the Dawn of the Jedi movie comes out. Because I want to tell our version of Dawn of the Jedi before there is a canon version. Because then you know me, I usually I allow the freedom of Legends content being you can do whatever, and then canon stuff is canon. So like, obviously you won't kill Vader.
Yeah.
But I will also make him you can run into him, I will just make him very terrifying and make it to where it will be a death, like TPK if you guys try to fight him. Which I think that's how Vader should be played as a character. Like if you're gonna put a Vader into your, now we're just talking tabletop in general. If you're gonna put Vader into your tabletop game, he should be terrifying. And honestly, any Sith character should be, but we have learned in our tabletop games that is not always true. And that's even before.
I did all the bullshit.
That's even before yours bullshit.
Yeah.
That's.
My bullshit was pretty practical compared to some of the other shit that went down.
To be fair, I guess Toki wasn't a Sith.
Yeah. He was a drug addict.
He was an he was an Inquisitor, which makes him a little bit less of a threat, but still a threat.
Yeah.
Until they made him a drug addict.
And then he became very much a threat.
He became a different type of threat. He became the type of threat where you want to keep him high, to keep him controlled. And then he got over that. I think there was a whole storyline of him not being a drug addict anymore. Anything else?
I started playing Elden Ring again.
Okay.
But, I got done with. I beat the the Old Hunters DLC.
You're not going to get to play Night Ring DLC for Elden Ring.
That's okay.
Yeah. It's also not your type of gameplay.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I was like, Seth might, if he could play it, he would try it, but he wouldn't enjoy it as much because it's basically just Fortnite with a little bit more to it than Fortnite. There's a little bit more to it. I will say from the gameplay I've seen, where they were like, well, how do we fit this with how Elden Ring plays and not just let's just make a battle royale. No, it's a battle royale, but they put some effort into it still. And you can just get it on its own. You don't need the base game, which I'm kind of miss when some DLCs were like that, where you could just get just the DLC, like Far Cry 3 with Blood Dragon. Yeah,
I remember Far Cry 3. That was a game that I played. I got the good ending the first time through because I didn't forget what my fucking objective was, which was go save my dumbass friends.
Yep. Yeah, we had to talk about that.
Second time, though, I was like, fuck them.
Yeah, we talked about the narrative of that, yeah. It's definitely a case of where you, at first, part of you doesn't feel bad for the kids, but you also do.
Well,
because they're still just young adults who were like they didn't ask to be put into the middle of this war.
I probably should not have been playing that game as young as I was.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, I was like 14, 15.
But
that's fine.
But like the kid, the main character. Well, the main character's friends, they didn't ask to be put in this war. They get caught in the middle of this war going on. But also, they were being rich white kids going off onto islands that they shouldn't have. Their privilege was showing a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Especially that first scene where they're like, oh, I can pay you, when they try to pay off. They're just like, I can give you money. And he's like, no, it's not about that. But, yeah. Which Michael Mando, so good as that character. But also, Far Cry has a thing, or had a thing, where they definitely would lie to you about who the villain was.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, yes, he's a villain, but he's not the villain. But, like, that was all the advertisement was for that game. Yeah. All the advertisement was about Michael Mando. I remember my favorite thing from the advertisement campaign of that game was the ads that was the live action shorts with Christopher Mintz-Plasse, aka McLovin, being stranded there on the island with Michael Mando. And then you can find his skull in the video game on the beach.
Oh no.
Because I don't know if you remember, but in the ads he's buried alive with his head over the...
No, this was a game that my dad got me, and he was like, you'll probably like this.
Yeah, I remember watching the shorts, and he was like, Christopher Mintz-Plasse was buried up to, like, with the sand up to here, and so he couldn't escape. But he died, and then you can find his skull on the beach. And I think there was a trophy/achievement for that. 3 also introduced for Far Cry the idea of just sitting and waiting for a secret cutscene to end the game. Because 3 is the first one where you can kind of just end the game a little bit early. 4 especially got famous for that one.
Yeah.
But 3 had one as well. 3 had one where you could end early as well. I can't remember specifically how you unlocked that one because it's been a minute, but I know it started that trend for Far Cry. And then Far Cry 4 made it famous because Far Cry 4, you literally just sit there for 15 minutes and then game over.
Hello.
Hey, Zach. Hey, Pixie.
Yeah. We're talking about Far Cry before we talk about Star Wars.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so 4 definitely made it famous. And then 5, I think, tried to copy that idea from 4. 4, I can't remember if 4's advertising made it clear that, like, because I can't remember if there was a secret villain in 4. I think it's just straight up that guy.
It is a little complicated from what I remember.
And then 5, it's just straight up the cult leader.
Yeah,
there's not.
It's pretty. 5 is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that
3, 4, and 6 really aren't.
So 6, it's not really, because I have not played 6.
Well, 6 actually is pretty.
I was gonna say. I was gonna say, isn't 6
got...
just straight up? What's his name?
Chicken Man.
Yeah, Chicken Man. Giancarlo.
Yep.
Giancarlo Esposito. Isn't it just straight up him?
It's because of how Far Cry games work, right? Your main antagonist, it will stay that way for like 80% of the game, and then it'll be...
And then some sort of plot twist will happen.
And then some sort of plot twist, or like the people you're working with are like, I think we should do it this way, or I think... In another one will be like, I think we should do it this way. And then they're both like, what do you think? And it's like, dude, I just fucking got here. Could you...
It's like, I'm just caught in the middle of your politics. I don't know.
I don't have time for this shit. Give me my goddamn friends back, or let me go home.
Oh, yeah. So Pixie likes pagan men, so 4.
Mm-hmm. Because he's just friends with your, like, dead parents.
It's a very interesting dynamic that you have with that villain, because... Yes, he is a bad person. But also, once again, similar to every Far Cry character that you play, you're just there to do something and leave. Yeah. Like, you're just there to do, like... Actually, in 3, you're there by accident.
You're there by accident. It's not your fault that you got involved.
And then 4, you're there to just deal with your parents and then leave.
You're there to go and put your mom's ashes
Yeah.
away. That's what you're
That's
there
it.
for.
Which is why there's the secret ending where if you just wait for Pagan Min to come back, that's it.
Yep.
Oh, Zach said Pagan Min was the best. Yeah.
Mm.
But I agree. I mean, Pagan Min's pretty good.
He's a good one.
I thought the cult leader was an interesting one, but the plot twist of that one kind of... It both makes the ending very good, but also very bad.
Mm.
I have not played 6, though, so I have no opinions on 6. And I have a very hot take on Far Cry. I like Far Cry Primal.
Alright.
I know that's a hot take in the Far Cry community.
I guess while we're also throwing out things related to Ubisoft, I actually enjoyed Assassin's Creed 3. I like Connor. He's a very sassy man. And fuck you, nonverbal communication is just as important as regular ones.
You know what? I like Assassin's Creed 3 as well. I'm with you on that one. Now, if you said something like, what was the one that was really glitchy on launch?
God, what was it?
The French Revolution one.
I was going to say, is it London? Or...
No.
I remember that like the one with the twins was not considered very good.
Which is weird, because I know a lot. Unity was the one that was the front that was really bad on launch. Zach liked not the Zach, but
Zach.
School Zach, back from college. He liked Syndicate, and I thought Syndicate was pretty cool as a concept. It was the first Assassin's Creed where you had multiple protagonists, and they kind of did the, like, you could just, if I remember correctly, you could switch between them whenever, right? Or could you only play them at certain points? I can't remember.
I don't know. I never played that one.
I did like the time era of Syndicate, because Industrial Revolution, London, very interesting time period to set an Assassin's Creed game in, I think.
I think when that was coming out, that was when me and a friend of mine and my brother were going through Gears of War, either 2 or 3.
Unity, though, was so bad that's when they stopped doing yearly releases.
Oh, no.
Because Syndicate was like, they had Syndicate, and that one was okay to certain people. Like, there was a lot of dislike of it. But then Unity came out, and it was bad. It was like, that was the one where they had a lot of the facial animation issues, where where the faces would be gone and it would just be the eyes and mouths. Like, that's how it was on launch. I understand that it got better, like, with updates, but, like, on launch, it was bad. Like, it made Mass Effect Andromeda look like a masterpiece. And so, I think, if I remember correctly, that's what killed them doing the yearly Assassin's Creed releases. And I said that was, and I said, hey, you know what? When it came out, I was like, if anything good comes out of Unity, it's that they kind of start spacing out their Assassin's Creed releases. Because I think that was killing the franchise, was just yearly releases. Because it wasn't, it's kind of my problem with Call of Duty, but at least Call of Duty switches between 3 different development teams. Whereas,
they get a little rest.
And Assassin's Creed also had different, like, Ubisoft has other development teams, but they weren't switching them in that same way as much. It was basically Montreal doing most of the Assassin's Creed games. But yeah, we really went off topic there. I think Ubisoft has problems even today still. But as far as their games, I think for the most part they're still good. It's just a lot of their business practices that I have issues with.
Oh, not Pixie, Brit's wild take the other day. I was like, you know what? That's fair. I can see why someone would...
for Obsidian? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, I can see why. If you're like me, and you're like, I don't give a shit about space combat, or there's only 6 companions
I do think
that's not that many.
I do think the companion, for reference, we're talking about I just had a brain fart. Please help me.
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. Because Pixies, Seth and I were watching Highlander, and we got on to talking about Avowed and Obsidian and how she's probably not going to check out Avowed because she's kind of fallen off on Obsidian games, specifically because of Outer Worlds. And I was like, man, you're in the wrong VC because you're talking to two people who really like Outer Worlds. And I like Avowed, but I also was willing to admit that, hey, if you didn't like Outer Worlds, you're not going to like Avowed, because not a lot on, especially because it was like she mentioned the combat was not quite her taste, and so I was like, okay, you're not going to like the combat then for sure, because it's not much change gun if you do like gunplay combat like I do. Not a lot has changed in terms of that, other than you don't get the slow-mo thing that you get in Outer Worlds, which is basically Outer Worlds' attempt at having a
I mean, it works good.
it's their version of having the Fallout. I'm losing words today.
Just take a guess.
I can't. My brain is at that point right now.
Okay. I'm sorry. You've had a very busy couple of days. It's VATS.
VATS, thank you. It's basically their version of VATS. Because they're like, well, we can't do VATS. What if we just gave you the ability to slow down time?
Yeah.
And then you can just do, like, Deadeye VATS combo, essentially.
Yeah. Now, the in-world explanation for why you're able to do
It's
that...
because of the basically the carbonation sickness.
Essentially, yeah. And, like, Dr. Phineas, the guy that, like, wakes you up, is like, that's probably not good for your health, but you know what? At least you're not dead like all the other people I've fucking tried to revive.
Yeah. Everybody else is basically goo.
Yep. So, pretty good standards.
But no, and so she doesn't like it, and she says she hasn't really liked Obsidian games like that for a minute. And so that, like, her opinion is valid, because that's a case of, it's a matter of taste, it's not a matter of saying it's objectively bad. If she had said it was objectively bad, then I would be calling it out. But it's an opinion-based thing, and therefore I can respect that opinion, and as her friend, I was like, well, in that case, you probably won't like Avowed. And I think that's true. If you don't like Outer Worlds, you're less likely to like Avowed. You might like it just because it's a different setting, and maybe if you prefer sword and shield combat over, say, if you don't care about being a pistolier like I am. I'm doing the dual-wield pistoleering, by the way, as you should, especially as a ranger, because I'm doing ranger. So, ranger build with dual-wielding pistols. And my blunderbuss gun as my other option. But, yeah, that's basically... I haven't really had a chance to play Avowed recently, though.
I'll say this. Here was a fun thing that happened this week. I was talking with, like, Chris and Steve the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were...
Were you expecting me to interrupt there?
Yeah, I was.
I was letting you have it. You have the floor.
Okay. I was like, what... Talking about, like... the Grim Hollow crew as opposed to some of our older characters, right? In the fun little, like, oh, you know, how do you guys think that showdown goes down? And they're like... because I was bored, and I was like, the fucking playground argument. And we were like, well... It's probably gonna go to Chris's first ever character, because that guy was a fucking menace. We talked about, like, Andrew's character now versus one that he had then.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, we'll give it to Tanachi. And then we talked about, like, Steve's first character versus Laxnor, and he's like, nah, we're gonna give that to Laxnor, because Laxnor actually... knows what the fuck he's doing.
Even if he doesn't know why he's doing it.
Yeah. But that's also because at the time when Steve made a bard for his first character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, not quite the deep end of magic, but still a very complicated magic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they are, like, up to 9th level spellcasters.
But yeah, when I say deep, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's not as management heavy as, say, being a wizard or a sorcerer.
And so we were like, and he's like, I think that in terms of capability, they're about equal. But I'm going to give it to Laxnor because Laxnor has more damaging options.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so how about Boone, my current character, versus Clipper, the one that they started? And they were like, we're going to give it to Clipper because Clipper is what happens when Boone gains 30 more years of experience. And it's like, yeah, no, that's fair. Because, like, Boone also doesn't have that, like, Clipper's thing was essentially, like, Clipper went on a revenge tour and chilled out as he got older. Boone is very new to this monster hunting thing. I'd say he's only been monster hunting for, like, 4-ish years now.
Yeah, something like that. I'd have to look at the...
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the lore.
I have to actually... One of these days, I'm actually going to write down all of the fucking...
Yeah.
That would help. I could probably put that in the goddamn notes.
Yeah, I'll look at the timeline and kind of work with you on that.
Yeah. But he's still new to it. He's good, but it's still new.
Mm-hmm. But
that's not what we're going to talk about. We've filled up enough time beforehand.
We do have a little bit of news this week, so
some good, some sad.
Yeah. So we'll start with a little bit of good first. In the news this week, we got what is probably the last main trailer for Andor Season 2 until the show comes out, as well as a poster, with us being only less than a month away from the show. It's pretty close. So, we're going to watch the trailer together. Let me set us up.
Because while I have seen, like, bits of it, I haven't watched it all the way through.
Especially not the new trailer, I don't think. The one that just came out, I don't think. Because one just came out during this week, unless you'd seen it somehow on YouTube beforehand. Without me. Which you might have. I don't know what you get up to without me.
Well, clearly I'm out fighting the Orphan of Kaz.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I was making sure we had it up. Okay. Let me turn on this sound.
I came with you to be part of something. The Empire cannot win. It's a different kind of mission. If it goes up in flames, it will burn very brightly. But if I'm giving up everything, I want to win.
Oh, Bix.
We have to. We must stand together. We will be crushed. Resistance is absurd. It's a weapon. They're building a weapon. The monster will come for us all. Revolution is not for the same. You're right here, and you're ready to fight. There's a future here for those who dare. Welcome to the rebellion.
Okay. Couple things I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the people of Ferrix are on the run, probably starting some sort of resistance, because it looked like they were, it looks like they're on the run, kind of there. Could be in, almost reminds me of Tarkin Town. on Lethal from Rebels, which you haven't seen yet. It's basically like a refugee sort of town. Other thing I noticed, of course, we got our KX droids.
That's savage backhand right there.
Yeah, which
That
means,
guy is dead.
well, I think that's I think that's Cassian getting smacked. I can go back.
We will be crushed. Resistance is absurd.
Oh no, that's somebody who's
That guy's dead.
no. But K2SO is supposed to be in this season, which is why it's definitely a lot very KX droid heavy, because that's not even the last we see of the KX droids in this commercial. Of course, we get Krennic. Orson Krennic's back to be smacked down by everybody around him.
Yep.
Actually, here it looks like he's going to be the top threat, or at least near the top levels. Outside of the ISB, obviously the ISB is going to be still pretty heavily involved. Also noticed, look, oh yeah, this is the wedding.
Yep.
For Mothma's daughter, and so we're gonna get that. Are we gonna get like a red wedding situation though? Are people gonna die? Is this gonna go bad? Is there gonna be explosions everywhere?
I was about to say, last I checked, she doesn't have much of a family left at the end. But then again, I remember, like, her sister, right? Last season, she was like, how could you let your daughter do this? And I was like, oh. And she's like, I did it for money and power. And I was like, yeah. Another point of, like...
Yeah.
We've gone over this.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, we talked about it, especially after the Mask of Fear review. We got Cyril, who's going to be probably, from it sounds like he's going to be questioning his loyalty to the Empire this season. Which, that'll be an interesting, I think that'll be an interesting arc for him. Of course, we got Cassian. ISB. I do like seeing Bix and the Ferrix crew, though. Except, they look happy here.
Yeah.
Something's gonna go wrong.
Probably.
Luthen's going mad, it seemed, in the trailer.
We'll just have to fucking burn it down.
Him and Saul, they're going mad. Oh, Deidre. Hold on.
That's a concerning place to be.
That also... that's a concerning position. Holding like this?
Yeah. I've never understood why anyone really bothers with it if what I think is happening is happening.
So I guess now I'd say the possibility of this character appearing is now like a 90, is like, I would put it on the 90 out of 100, like 90 to 10.
Either that, or she's having a panic attack.
Let me go back and see.
The monster will come for us all. Revolution is not for this.
That kind of looks like struggling with a force choke to me.
We'll see.
Also, the line being, the monster will come for us all, immediately before that is... I see what you're doing here, trailer. You think you're so smart. Even though we know the line has nothing to do with that, but... Yeah. I mean, we know the other big thing that we're going to see is something that they've talked about in Star Wars. I can close it now. I think that's all the clips I wanted to point out. But I mean, we know that there's there's a big event. I'm trying to remember the name of it. That basically really causes the rebellion to, like, Mon Mothma in particular, to just go, all right, we gotta kick it into gear for real. Because, like, the Empire does something really, really evil. I'm trying to remember what it's called.
I like how saying they did something really evil
Well, I like
doesn't narrow it down.
when I say that, I mean, like, it's on par with them doing what they did to the Jedi. Like, that level. Not quite destroying a world evil, but, like, still G-wording a group evil.
They almost got all the Mandalorians too, so let's not.
Yeah, let's not forget that. Yeah,
They've committed so many that it's hard to remember which ones. That's a problem.
yeah. I think it's the Gorman. And I forget. Yeah, the Gorman massacre. That, yeah. So I think Andor season 2 is supposed to deal with that, and we're supposed to actually see it happen. Yeah, the Star Wars wiki even says, yeah, it's gonna happen then, because it happens in 2 BBY, so 2 years before.
Okay.
So it's kind of the thing that really kicks off the rebellion, and kind of creates a lot of sympathy for like the rebel cells that are existing at this point, because at this point they're still mostly cells and not a unified rebellion. They're unified insofar as now the cells are starting to communicate more, but for the most part the cells still operate on their own, independently.
Like a unifying figure.
Yeah. And so I think if I remember correctly, the Gorman Massacre is kind of the big thing. And we have not seen it in detail, whether in books or in comics or anything. We just know it's a thing, and we know it's the thing that kind of just kicks everything into gear. So, yeah, Season 2 is going to be interesting for sure. I'm excited. It's less than a month away. How are you feeling probably didn't need to see that trailer to be interested. I mean,
let's see where it goes.
Yeah. All right.
That's kind of how I feel a lot about like a lot of Star Wars stuff. Let's see where this goes.
Well, going into a little bit sad news, we lost a legend this week. Well, a few weeks ago, really, but we learned about it this week. He was the voice of Alfred in 3 episodes of Batman the Animated Series. He was Kickback in 5 episodes of the original Transformers cartoon. And the reason we honor him today, he was the original voice of the Emperor in Empire Strikes Back, Clive Revell. He passed away at the age of 94 after complications with dementia. I remember seeing the original Emperor, because, there was the weird original version that was in theaters, and then, of course, now, eventually, they changed it to Ian McDiarmid to match Return of the Jedi, because they then cast him for Return of the Jedi, and then they were, like, retroactively like, oh, we should just put Ian McDiarmid into that scene. And while I did like making fun of the appearance of that version, because it is a funny appearance, the voice was good. Even then, it's a different voice for sure. Like, Ian McDiarmid kind of gives that menacing thing that he always does when he's the Emperor or when he's Palpatine. He always has a menacing undertone to him, even when he's supposed to be nice.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to pick up the cookies and milk.
Like, even in, like, Phantom Menace, like, there's something off about him where, like, as a kid, I had not seen the original trilogy, but I still somehow knew that guy was the bad guy.
Shut
Where
up and Red and start saying weird shit
yeah.
to a fucking 9-year-old.
Whereas, like, Clive Revell, on the other hand, kind of gives a posh, power, but still powerful take. So thank you, Clive, for giving us the Emperor's initial voice. I did want to rewatch the clip in honor of him, so we're going to go ahead and do that real quick.
What is thy bidding, my master?
There is a great disturbance in the Force.
I have felt it.
We have a new enemy, Luke Skywalker.
Yes, my master.
He could destroy us.
He's just a boy. Obi-Wan can no longer help him.
The Force is strong with him. The son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi.
If he could be turned, he would become a powerful ally.
Yes. Yes. He would be a great asset. Can it be done?
He will join us or die, master.
And yeah. So, rest in peace, Clive Revell. Thank you once again. So, going back into some lighter news.
Yeah.
I guess I somehow I found a monkey's paw at some point, I guess, because I'm getting my wish for a new pod racing game. Because we've talked about it and how I would like another one.
You got your wish, didn't you?
But it's coming out for VR, which I don't have. So, ILM, Industrial Lights and Magic, is helping work on Star Wars Beyond Victory, a mixed reality playset, is what the game is called, for MetaQuest 3 and 3S. So I definitely don't have those VR sets. It is set to follow the story of Sebulba and new character Volo Bolus, set around the time of Solo: A Star Wars Story. And so it's going to be like a pod racing game with apparently different game modes. They're supposedly going to show it off a little bit at Celebration, let people play test it. We are also getting a one-shot comic tie-in to the game during Celebration next month as well. And we don't have a release date yet, but we'll probably hear more about like when it's coming out and all that during Celebration, since it's going to be there along with the Bit Reactor game. I would be more excited if it was on something I could play.
Yeah.
It's a case of this is such good, and honestly, I don't mind I do like the idea of a VR pod racing game, but it's on a VR headset I just definitely won't afford. Maybe if our fans buy me, if y'all buy me a MetaQuest 3 or 3S and a copy of Star Wars Beyond Victory, maybe we'll play it for the podcast.
Nah, you mean you.
No, you'll play it too.
No, I won't.
We're gonna get you in that VR headset and you're gonna vroom vroom drive a pod racer.
No.
But yeah, that's all for the news today. So let's get into today's main topic of Hyperspace Stories Qui-Gon. Spoilers ahead. This was such a good comic.
Yep.
I expected it to be pretty good, because like we're back to Dark Horse kind of releasing Star Wars comics again, and well, they're only really in charge of the Hyperspace Stories stuff. The Hyperspace Stories stuff that they've done have been pretty good.
Yeah.
And while this is a change of the format, I actually kind of like this format change, because, you know, up to this point, they were doing like the standard, we're going to just do a issue a month sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then around, issue 15, they said, nah, we're going to do basically mini-series and just straight-to-trade backs.
Yeah.
Which, this was a straight-to-trade back. It's only really 80-something pages, actually, but it's like, it was like 90 on the PDF, but it's like 80-something in reality. It's like because like a couple of the pages were the cover.
Yeah.
So it was a short read. That was
Yes.
That was a
Which is good because
you've been struggling the past couple
yeah.
podcast episodes. So this was probably a sigh of relief for you to get to just something that you could sit down in an afternoon and be done with.
Yep.
On top of that, it was also good.
Mm-hmm.
I need to remind myself who wrote it. Oh, George. Of course it was George Mann. Of course it was George Mann. That would explain why it was so good.
Oh.
We've learned. We should know at this point that if George Mann's involved. We also had to wait a long time for this though, because it was supposed to be released near the end of last year, and then it got bumped and bumped and bumped.
Oh, and I also really like how it looks. So, in terms of like art overall.
Oh yeah, the art style is really good.
The team did a good job.
Yeah, the team. Yeah, let's see who we got. We have Andrea Muti for the penciler and Gigi Baldacini for the ink. So, and then you got Vladimir Popov as a colorist. And yeah, so that's your artist team.
Yep.
Wanted to give credit there because obviously if we really enjoy them, they deserve to be called out for their amazing work. Yeah, because it found this unique balance between being horror and just almost feeling like a late 90s, early 2000s comic.
Yeah.
In style.
So for this comic, the setup is we flash back to when Qui-Gon was alive, and
well, it's not even a flashback. It just takes place.
Yeah,
then.
It takes place then.
It takes place. So on the timeline, it is after Padawan. Well, it's after. I have the timeline. Hold on. I can tell you when it's at on the timeline. I know it's before Master and Apprentice. I think it's like just immediately or near enough before Master and Apprentice and then it's also after, where was it? Yeah, it's after Padawan, before Master and Apprentice on the timeline. So, closer to Master and Apprentice based on how old Obi-Wan looks. Because Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are sent on this mission to check out this distress call.
Mm-hmm. Sent by some archaeologists.
Which basically leads them to this derelict ship covered in rocks.
Yeah.
And then throughout the comic, that's basically our like the story that's holding the rest of it together. Because then we do flashbacks as Qui-Gon retells stories of, like, run-ins with the Brotherhood of the Ninth Door, who we were introduced to.
There's about as many flashbacks in this comic as there is in a Highlander episode.
There was, like, 3.
Yeah, that's about how many there are in a Highlander episode.
Yeah. So we get introduced to the Brotherhood of the Ninth Door, for those of y'all who did not read the High Republic stuff for Phase 2. They are a dark side force group. Cult, potentially, depending how you want to look at their religion, who wear skull masks and use a lot of manipulation with the Force.
Yeah, they're mostly illusion mages.
Yeah. But, of course, we were introduced to them back in Tales of Enlightenment, with us learning that they're allowed to be on Jedha, but also it's only because they don't like do anything actively evil anymore. They're kind of, even by the time of Phase 2 of the High Republic, they were starting to kind of be like, we're more in the middle. Like we follow the dark side, but only because we believe that it doesn't have to be used for evil. Which of course goes against the Jedi's beliefs, which makes for a very interesting dialogue. And so the first flashback involves Dooku, who introduces Qui-Gon to this mystery of a artifact from the founding member of the Brotherhood of the Ninth Door that's gone missing. And of course, Dooku wants to find it because we know what Dooku's actually up to. Qui-Gon does not at this time.
Yeah. Also, a fun parallel that was what happens. The conversation between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan is very reminiscent of the one between Obi-Wan and Anakin at the start of episode 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just staying in the moment versus... Yeah.
The words are different.
Which is also a conversation that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan have at the start of episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole, you have to be mindful of the present without, and you can worry about stuff in the past, but don't focus on, or like, don't focus on the future, I guess, really. It's, you got to be in the moment. But also you got to be patient.
Yeah. Specifically because these people are scared and they just went through some shit.
I know I saw an ad break's about to start, so I'm keeping an eye out because we might take a break here. And then, but yeah, so we keep cutting back to these stories of the Brotherhood of Qui-Gon running into a specific member of the Brotherhood of the Ninth Door.
Yep.
Because in the first flashback, he's following Dooku and Qui-Gon when they find this old temple on Jedha. Ooh, okay, we'll talk more about that in a second.
Right.
Sorry about that, everybody. We're going to take an ad break for those because the Twitch side's on an ad break. Okay.
Hello.
Welcome back. Sorry, we had to take that break. Welcome back, Twitch viewers. So, as I was saying before we had to switch to ad mode, They basically... I was talking about the Dooku.
Yeah.
The first flashback is basically this Brotherhood member following Dooku and Qui-Gon into a temple. They confront each other for like a split second, and then Brotherhood of the Ninth Door member runs away.
Yep.
And Dooku's like, no, don't worry about it. He's not getting anything out of us because we didn't find anything, so we just wasted each other's time.
Yep.
So no need to chase him. Okay.
It needs. Qui-Gon's like, isn't he well, he's still a dark sider though, so shouldn't we? And Dooku's like, nah, we'll probably see each other again.
Dooku doesn't see this guy again because this is the only Dooku flashback.
Yep.
The next one though is Qui-Gon running into him again. This time, I was trying to remember the specifics of it. They were, oh yeah, he was helping this village
Yeah.
because they were being attacked by
Creatures called the Snatchers.
yes. And at first Qui-Gon thinks it's the Brotherhood's fault doing this because he finds like, oh, the Snatchers live in a cave that is actually an old temple, Brotherhood of the Ninth Door temple. And he's like, they obviously were doing things and making these creatures angry. Nope, these creatures are the instigators here. Yep. They actually captured and tied up our Brotherhood of the Ninth Door member, who we learn is named Minakatsu. Minakatsu. Yeah, Minakatsu.
Now,
actually,
we
don't
works,
get two flashbacks then, because I think it's this, and then there's no other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Minakatsu is like, yeah, I did come here to go and look at the tomb, and I did open it. Didn't know about the Snatchers being in there.
He's like, yeah, I was here to just,
I was here to do research, and then I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a kid, the Snatchers have been, snatching children. Yeah, that's a plot point.
And so, like, one of the kids that was, like, barely got away was helping Qui-Gon.
Yep. It's not calling Qui-Gon the entire time.
Qui-Go.
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 Because he goes quietly. It's a dumb joke.
But yeah, so they end up Minakatsu and Qui-Gon end up working together against the Snatchers, and then they seal the cave again because it was so that way that the town is safe. And basically, like, Qui-Gon's slowly learning, I'm eventually gonna just run into this guy again. I don't need to focus on him. The Force will it essentially. Meanwhile, the present day story has kind of been the archaeologists lost one of their guys because when they got to the ship, they began investigating it. It started off simple with the investigation, and then it got dark, and one of them just disappeared.
Yeah, they did follow like proper procedures for Star Wars archaeological stuff.
Yeah, they had like the paperwork and all that.
They've got all of their things in order. They've done everything right. Except they got a little excited because who wouldn't?
Yeah.
And one of them was like, man, we gotta go. We gotta see as much as we can see. And he got snatched into the darkness. Yeah, and his light went out.
Yeah, he got by the Oclatar, this is the first time they've appeared. Very Dringir-like.
Really?
Plant creature thing.
That is not what I was like. I've seen this before. This is a squid with more eyes than it should have.
I guess I could see squid. Very George Mann character, though, creature design. So the George Mann is George Manning. Yeah, around here.
Yep.
Because George Mann's also the inventor of the Dringir, so...
Fucking wildlife in Star Wars, man.
Yeah. George, man, stop creating things to eat people.
No, keep doing it.
But yeah, the Aklotar. At first, the archaeologists think that the ship is haunted, which they're kind of wrong. Because there's no ghost, but there is somebody else on board the ship.
Yeah.
But the Aklotar are the actual thing that ate their friend. And so eventually Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan run into the Aklotar and figure out, okay, this is what happened. But also, they gotta run, because the Aklotar are now trying to make them their next meal.
At first it was just one, and they were like, oh, we can just use quick little animal bond and be like, okay, go away. No, not the second time. Turns out there's a lot more.
Yeah.
It went from one, which probably wouldn't have been that unmanageable, to like 50.
Yeah. And so, in their attempt to escape, they find a sealed, vaulted door. Mm-hmm. And so Qui-Gon has to open the vault while Obi-Wan stands guard, which is when we get told the second story.
Yeah. Of Qui-Gon dealing with a snatcher is meeting this guy, fucking Minakatsu again.
Yeah, Minakatsu, yeah.
And Obi-Wan during that is like, is now really the time for a story?
He's like, Qui-Gon's like, yeah, it's the best time for a story. What do you mean?
Yep.
Is there ever any other time?
God damn it, Qui-Gon.
The present is always the best time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose so.
And so, eventually Qui-Gon figures out the door, and Obi-Wan and him have to use the Force together to open it. Mm-hmm. Inside, they realize, because basically when they got to the vault, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan kind of figured out, oh, this ship isn't just a ship, it's a tomb.
Yep. And as they're realizing this, Minakatsu is finally done running the 1v50 in the other room.
Oh yeah, because while Qui-Gon's figuring out the vault, Obi-Wan's like, hey, I hear some fighting, should I go help them? And Qui-Gon, already figuring out it's Minakatsu, is like, nah, he's got it.
Yep, don't worry about it.
If it's who I think it is, he's got it. And Obi-Wan's like, but what if it's the archaeologist? He's like, no, it's not them. Mm. And Obi-Wan's like, oh, is it the ghost then? And Qui-Gon's like, yeah, we'll say that. We'll go with that. I love this comic. But no, they figure out that this is actually the tomb of Sarasti Tel, the founder of the Brotherhood of the Ninth Door.
Yeah.
And so they open the tomb vault door, and they basically find with him is a scroll, which is like the artifact that Dooku and Qui-Gon were looking for years ago. Mm-hmm. And that's when, Minakatsu is like, "Hi, I'm here.
Hi, I'm here. Can I
have that?"
And they're like, "No."
And so they fight each other. Well, Qui-Gon and Minakatsu fight each other, and Obi-Wan waits, and then he interferes. Because at first Qui-Gon's like, nah, you gotta let me 1v1 this guy.
For some reason.
Because we've been waiting for this fight for years, essentially. And then eventually Obi-Wan interferes, and then once Obi-Wan jumps in, that's when Qui-Gon's like, actually, I don't want to fight.
You know, I'm done.
And he actually does give it to Minakatsu, because basically Minakatsu's like, throughout the flashbacks, or at least in the second one, not in the first one. First one he doesn't talk, he just appears and then runs.
Yeah.
Second one though, he tried to convince Qui-Gon, hey, I'm not what you think I am.
Yeah, he's like, I need you to
Jedi
run your worldview a little bit here, man.
You Jedi in your dogmatic worldview, essentially.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I'm not the bad guy you think I am. And then, of course, he's given the same kind of talk in the present during this fight. And eventually Qui-Gon's like, you know what? I'm just going to trust you and see what happens.
You know what? Maybe you have a point.
Because Qui-Gon is also the type of Jedi who totally would, like, give somebody the opportunity to prove themselves. Worst case, Qui-Gon then just has to cut the guy down.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon's like, alright, I'll give you the scroll.
Sure.
And so Minakatsu immediately just turns it to dust. And Obi-Wan's like, what the fuck was that? Qui-Gon's like, a guy earning, like, a man who's earned our trust now after that. And so they let him leave after doing that.
After Minakatsu briefly explains, like, yeah, I had to go and...
Yeah, like, he explains, like, because he's like, Qui-Gon figured it out, so for you, Obi-Wan, and for the audience reading this comic, I will explain what's been going on all these years.
Yeah. I've been looking for, like, the Founder's tomb, so I could go and make sure this thing doesn't exist anymore. Because whatever Serastipel found... learned or discovered.
Yeah, basically he discovered, like, the great secrets of the Force that are so powerful that they can manipulate life and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it could be world-ending levels of Force powers.
Bro found Star Wars anti-life equation, and Minakatsu was like, nope.
Yeah. And so, well, because even the reason it was buried with Serasti Tell is because even Tell was like, nah, nobody should have this knowledge. And so that's why, like, he was like, it should be buried with me. But then Minakatsu was like, but
that might not be enough.
that needs to be just destroyed. And so, and that was the other thing, is that's the reason he didn't trust Dooku, because he didn't know, because Dooku wanted it to be brought back to the Jedi to be studied, which means the opposite of what Minakatsu wanted, which was just nobody have it.
Mm-hmm.
And Qui-Gon kind of agrees with this idea of just nobody have it.
And another great...
Oh, the final line of what was on it? I don't know. Yeah, because so basically,
I get it, Obi-Wan, as someone who like enjoys answers that would like, what was on it? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, Minakatsu runs off. The archaeologists appear, and Qui-Gon's like, "Man, you guys found something really interesting here.
Yeah,
We'll leave you to it."
Yep.
We killed the creatures. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan only killed one.
They
didn't even kill it.
that one.
Yeah.
That's all Minakatsu.
Minakatsu did all the work.
Yeah. The fact that he beat 50 of those things and was still capable of dealing with
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon
speaks a lot to how.
Also, we get an Aslan Rail mention.
Yep.
Potentially Aslan got redeemed at some point, because that sounds like the lesson Qui-Gon was implying.
Who knows?
Because he mentioned like that. I mean, because they were like, "Oh, well, why?" Obi-Wan was like, "Why don't we chase this Minakatsu guy? He's still a Darksider." And Qui-Gon's like, "Yeah, but you see, the galaxy's complicated. There are good people who still are afraid at times but they do the right thing eventually. And Minakatsu is one of those guys. Similar to the story of Aslan Rail. Did I tell you the story of Aslan Rail?
Who the fuck is Aslan? Oh, good. I'll tell you on the way home.
Yeah. Which I think implies that maybe Aslan has a redemption point, but...
Maybe. Or at least returns to neutral.
Because I think we've seen that he's gotten over his fear in certain parts of like, especially the Edge of Balance, the last time we saw him in Edge of Balance. I mean, he kind of had that moment of, oh, I got to get over my fear.
Yeah, but he also still has to do the other thing.
The blood thing?
The blood thing. You know, that super dangerous thing?
Yeah, that stupid weapon that Charles Soule is like, hey, here's a weapon that's in the High Republic. We're not going to tell you when this happens. Good luck. Good luck, High Republic fans. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks for creating a... Man, the weapons in Star Wars, sometimes they're really cool, and others are, like, just existentially terrifying. Like, the Spark Eternal, that's scary. The little fucking blood box, because I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, because it kills not just the target, but anybody that the target has ever interacted with in a meaningful way.
Yep. Which can be a lot of people depending on who the target is.
Like if it's the Emperor, which means almost everybody.
Yep.
Because it doesn't have to be a direct
Yep.
contact situation. It can be any way that they've been affected by this person's presence. Woo! Stupid weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, back to Hyperspace Stories though. And so they leave the archaeologists to enjoy their works, which one of the archaeologists is like, "What's this dust pile?" Qui-Gon's like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Some-
Dust.
Yeah.
Probably.
And so yeah, when they get back on the ship, Obi-Wan's like, "So what was on that anyways?" Qui-Gon's like, "I have no idea."
Like,
to be fair, do you think Dooku told him?
No.
Dooku was just like, "Yeah, some powerful secrets are on there." That's probably about the extent that Dooku went with it.
Yep.
Knowing Dooku,
He's like, I don't need to explain anything else.
you're my apprentice, not the other way around.
Yep.
This is I think Star Wars has been on a roll lately. This is a 9 out of 10 for me. It's a really good comic, and it's so short and enjoyable. And while it doesn't do anything for the grand narrative, right? Like it's very much a standalone comic. I think it works really well for that, and it adds like it doesn't add nothing, but it adds nothing in terms of the narrative. It adds more on the themes. It adds to the idea that, you know, good people can be perceived as bad just because of certain things, and the idea of hope still being a message here with like just trusting in this person. And I think just all as a whole, it's a good comic. So that's why I'm giving it a 9. I think I think it earned it.
I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
I saw. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I just think it's. I think it's just that good, and plus it's a short read, so like.
Yeah. It's a short read, which is good. Like you said, the themes and everything are very good. I almost wish it was a little bit longer.
Yeah, I could go with a little bit more, but I'm also not disappointed with it.
Yeah.
It has a decent runtime, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it for a book and comic. It has a decent runtime where the pacing is fine.
Yes.
Like there's nothing wrong with the pacing. I think it's
I'd rather
well
it be-
paced actually.
I'd rather it be a little short than overstay its welcome.
Yeah. And George Mann tends to understand pacing with
Yeah.
his writing, so that's never an issue with whenever I see him on the story by line. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I've got really nothing else to add other than if you like comics and you like Qui-Gon, go check it out yourself. Honestly, I'd recommend it to anybody who likes Qui-Gon as a character. Or if you just like George Mann's writing, also that's another reason. If you like George Mann's writing, even if you're not the biggest Qui-Gon fan, it's another example of good George Mann writing and good art. Like you were saying, if you're a fan of good comic book art, that's another reason.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be it though for the main topic.
All right.
So thank you all for watching today's episode of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I've been your host Caleb. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to us. You can find us at Escape Reality Films on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, and Blue Sky. You can also show your support for us by joining our Patreon, which is at Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley.
Yo.
There you can watch our YouTube content before it's publicly available. Also be sure to check out our Discord, which is also linked wherever you are watching, so you can become a part of our community. There you can, let's see, last Thursday we watched some more Highlander, as we talked about earlier. And then this week, unless plans change, but it sounds like, according to Britt, we should be good to go, we're going to watch some more My Little Pony. We're starting season 4,
Yep.
where things are going to be interesting because of changes at the end of season 3.
And Well, maybe the Thursday after that, we
might do
we might
JoJo's.
start JoJo's.
Maybe we'll get Zach and Pixie in there for some JoJo's. Y'all want to watch the JoJo's?
Promise you, it'll be a bizarre adventure. I was thinking about this. There will be times when you ask me what is happening.
Oh no, I know how it can be. It's one of those where like there's no explanation. Sometimes you just gotta watch.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out Pixie over on Twitch. Go check out our friend Pixie Nixie. She also streams. She's taking a break this past week, but I think she's coming back this week. Where she's been playing some Mirror's Edge lately, along with some, I always forget the zombie game.
Which one?
The co-op, zombie co-op. Not Left 4 Dead, but the other one, the parkour one.
Dying Light.
Dying Light. She's been playing Dying Light with Zach and a few others. And so it's been a good time watching those streams, and also sometimes she'll mixed in some Fortnite. So, variety streamer, awesome friend, also has an awesome YouTube channel where yours truly does the video editing, so you should go check that out as well. Same name, Pixie Nixie, same spelling, Pixinnyxie. So, and she's also our mod here on Twitch. And then also check out, let's see if the timer's already run out or not. Probably hasn't. But you can also check out our friend Zach. It has not run out yet. We gotta wait a few seconds. But he is Prozac Pulse on any website that has streaming. So PROZACPULSE. That is on YouTube, Twitch, Kick. I think those are where he mostly streams. He also does a bit of variety. I think he's talked about doing some Avowed when he comes back. He hasn't been streaming lately, but I think he's talked about doing some Avowed. I forget what else he said of games that he wants to play. Still got 6 seconds. I'm just trying to like word vomit like different things he does. But he is also part of the YouTube channel with Pixie. They play games together because they're a annoying but lovable couple. They're also some of our biggest supporters here.
Yep.
So, shout out to both of them. They're awesome. We love you guys. Go check them out. Speaking
Sometimes
of,
I tell people what tarot cards mean.
yeah, whenever they've been playing Witch's Doll. But speaking of friends who do things that we want to support around here.
Yes. Every other Sunday from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, you can catch some friends of ours over on Trials of Naboo at the Steam_Dungeon on YouTube. I don't know what's happening in that campaign, but I assure you it's probably worth the while to check it out.
Yeah, and it's every other week now, right?
Yeah, it's bi-weekly.
Yeah,
now.
so plenty of time to catch up, and then plenty of time to catch their streams if you want. But if you don't, they leave the VODs up on there. Yeah. Once again, thank you all for watching. Join us next week as we discuss the new audiobook exclusive, Haunted Starlight, which is a sequel to the last one that we did. That was a audiobook exclusive, the Starlight one. So I'm excited about that. Because I think we did like that last one, so if I remember correctly. It was pretty short. That's the other good thing about the exclusive audiobooks. They're like 4 hours long each. So, but yeah, we'll come back next week with Haunted Starlight. I've spoken.
Y'all be safe out there.
Bye.